Traditional knowledge. What is traditional knowledge and where the traditional knowledge exists means with whom the traditional knowledge will exist and what is the scope of traditional knowledge and what is the significance or importance or greatness of traditional knowledge. We have learned all those things by yesterday. Are you audible? Is it hearable? Are you? Uh, if sound is rises, I have facing some kind of problem with my ears. So some jaw sound is coming into my eyes, ears. Then I don't want to increase more voice. So this voice is sufficient to you? Is it sufficient? Uh, okay, okay, it's good. Then today we are going to learn about the conservation of traditional knowledge. Okay, we have learned all the things about traditional knowledge. That is, the what is traditional knowledge and what is the importance of traditional knowledge and what is the scope and history of traditional knowledge. All those things. In significance, we have noticed that what are the many uses that are being serving the traditional knowledge is serving not only in India, indigenous and also in other countries. So we have known that the greatness of traditional knowledge. When we know the greatness of traditional knowledge, it is our responsibility to conserve this kind of traditional knowledge. It has to preserve the traditional knowledge. So, how can we preserve this traditional knowledge? Before going to methods of traditional knowledge, we must remember one point in our minds. That is, the traditional knowledge. All the traditional knowledge is associated with our customs, traditions, and other civilization matters. So the traditional knowledge are associated or interlinked with our customs and traditions. So that when the knowledge is interlinked or the knowledge is associated with our culture, especially our culture, you know, the culture is represented the development and growth of the society. We can say the or we can estimate the personality depending on his culture and his family culture. You can see that all the traditional knowledge which is transmitted, it is always interlinked with the culture. When the traditional knowledge is interlinked with the culture, we have to we have to conserve this valuable traditional knowledge by some selective integrated methods. The method should be a selective and also an integrated. Integrated means it has to cooperation of some people or group of people or some societies. So this is the integrated method. One alone, one alone cannot do this great job. One alone cannot do this great job. What is this great job? The conservation of traditional knowledge. Why? The traditional knowledge is always interlinked with the culture of the society. So that when the knowledge is associated with the culture of the society, we have to select the methods of conservation as group or by integration with other people, with other group of people, with other agencies, with other governmental agencies, non-governmental agencies, some systems. అంటే ఒక్క వ్యక్తి మాత్రమే ఈ విధమైనటువంటి సాంప్రదాయ పరిజ్ఞానాన్ని పరిరక్షించలేడు. ఎందుచేతను? సాంప్రదాయ జ్ఞానం అనేటువంటిది ఆ సమాజం యొక్క సంస్కృతి సాంప్రదాయాలపైన ఆధారపడి ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ మెథడ్స్లో మాత్రమే we can conserve it. So what are these integrated methods of conservation? How can we conserve this uh, valuable traditional knowledge? So we can conserve by following 4 or 5 methods. Then we can go one by one method of conservation. The first method of conservation of traditional knowledge is equality consideration. Equality consideration, you have to put a side heading as equality consideration. Means you can consider the equality, or you can give equal rights, or you can give equal benefits what we achieve. So this is the equal consideration. If you not consider one group, it will become injustice to that society. The traditional knowledge cannot be conserved. If you want to conserve the valuable traditional knowledge, you have to follow the method of equality consideration. Equality consideration, what is that equality consideration? This is, in this instance, I would like to explain with a good example. What is that good example? If you take farmers, as I told you, rightly said yesterday or before yesterday, the agriculture is one of the traditional knowledge. The traditional knowledge, agriculture is comes under traditional knowledge. When a farmer cultivating a crop, he will he will gives a great or super quality or best quality seeds to the next generation. When a farmer cultivated a crop, after harvesting the crop, he will select he will select all the seeds, and best of best seeds he will select. These seeds will be given to next generation. In that way, the original germplasm of croplands will be transmitted. The knowledge is also being transmitted. So, this traditional knowledge indirectly has great significance at their own, and also it will add value. It will add value for the next product also. For the next product also. Are you able to catch my point? With the help of his traditional knowledge, with the help of his own traditional knowledge, a farmer can produce a crop, produce a crop. So this is his traditional knowledge. And he will add the knowledge, traditional knowledge, to the next product. Means how it is possible? He will produce by selection. You know, selection is one of the plant breeding methods. So he will select best of best seeds, and he will give to the next generation. So this is the traditional transmission of traditional knowledge. This is the casual transmission of traditional knowledge. But what happened here? What is our interest to know? There is no equality. There is no equal contribution or equal consideration. What is happening really? So these seeds are purchased by some companies, those companies which are producing new varieties by breeding methods. What is happening? These seeds are purchased from farmers by the agents of some companies, some biotech companies, bio companies, that company, this company, you can see. So these companies again they will conduct breeding experiments, and they will produce new varieties, new varieties, and they will branded their own name for those new varieties. The credit will goes to whose that credit will go? The credit will goes to those companies, but not farmers. So this is the main drawback. This is not the equal consideration. The credit has to go to original farmer, those farmers, those who are originally selected those seeds. When the credit is goes to those farmers who are originally selected and who are sell sell those seeds to pharma companies or seed companies, that credit has to go to those farmers only. But ultimately what is happening? The credit is going to those companies. They are exploiting by their brand name, by their brand name. So these seeds from biotech company, these seeds from spic company, these seeds from uh, agro company, likewise. But no one will say, so this is the product, or this is the brainchild, or this is the product of traditional knowledge of so and so farmer. So this is the sorrow thing. This is the unfortunate thing, that no equality consideration is going there. When the equality consideration is followed by the government, then the traditional knowledge can be conserved. Otherwise, the traditional knowledge cannot be conserved, because the when they conduct when they conduct breeding methods, and they produce new varieties by other methods, like modern technologies like rDNA technology or tissue culture technology or any other soma clonal variations. We can produce in so many ways we can produce new varieties. But this credit will goes that company only, not for the farmer who has originally selected and who gave those seeds to that company. So this is the unfortunate thing. So we must overcome all these problems. Then only we can conserve the traditional knowledge. So this is the first method. This is the first method of the equal consideration. Are you understand this method or not? Did you understand or not? If anybody or not understand, I will try to explain again or even in Telugu. Anybody, one of you can say yes or no. Simply. Yes or no? Yes. It is sufficient to me. This response is sufficient to me. Then I will go for second method. The second method is observation of conservation. You see, very simple. Observations of conservation. So, what are the observations in conservation? So, we can observe the traditional knowledge, is it conserving in some kind of areas or fields or domains, whether it is followed or not, whether it is conserving or not, what fields, what domains. The first one is the sustainable agriculture, and the second one is food safety, and the third one is environmental protection, environmental protection. So when we follow these three methods, we will conserve the agro biodiversity. Ultimately, we can conserve the agro biodiversity. I will say again, I want to repeat it. I want to repeat it. That is, when we observe, please try to understand. If you don't understand, you can say, sir, please repeat it. If we observe the sustainable development of agriculture, if we observe the food safety of the nation, if we observe the environmental protection, thereby we can conserve, thereby we can conserve the agro biodiversity, especially the agriculture based countries like India, the ultimate product or ultimate result or ultimate benefit of the traditional knowledge is to conserve the agro biodiversity. You know what is agro biodiversity? The diversity in agriculture, because we can say now so many varieties of crops. Even in rice, there are 500 varieties of rice are there. So, in order to observe, in order to conserve the agricultural biodiversity or agro biodiversity, we have to observe three areas. What are these three areas? The first one is sustainable agriculture, and the second one is food safety, and the third one is environmental protection. So this is comes under the observation of conservation. So we have to observe the conservational methods. We have to observe the conservational methods. How much or how best, how best we are following, we are observing the conservational methods such as sustainable agriculture, environmental protection, and food safety. Thereby, we can conserve the agro biodiversity. That is the summary of this method. It adds, ultimately, what will happen? It adds adds. It will adds the value of traditional knowledge in agro biodiversity. Are you able to catch my point? It will add more color, means it will add more value. It means what? The traditional knowledge will add more significance or more value or more gratefulness to agrobiodiversity. That is the greatness of traditional knowledge. That the agrobiodiversity can be achieved. Agrobiodiversity can be achieved by by the greatness of traditional knowledge, by following methods of traditional knowledge. So the traditional knowledge will give additional importance, or the traditional knowledge will give additional support, additional flavor to the agrobiodiversity. So agrobiodiversity is the root base for the agriculture dependent countries like India. So that we must conserve the agrobiodiversity with the help of traditional knowledge. We must save, we must protect, we must conserve the agrobiodiversity with the help of traditional knowledge. This is the second method. Are you understand or not? This is the method, second method. All of you understood or not? Simply, I want just yes or no. Yes, Aditya said yes. Okay. Next method, the third method, the conservation of traditional culture. The next method of conservation is the conservation of traditional culture and traditional methods. By conserving the traditional methods and cultures, we can conserve the traditional knowledge. How it is possible? What is this? What is the meaning of, sir? What is meant by conserving the traditional? By conserving the tradition and culture, by conserving the tradition and culture, we can conserve the traditional knowledge. So these are interlinked. These are the similar words. If you conserve the culture, and traditions of a particular group of people or a particular area of people, then you can conserve the traditional knowledge. ఒక ప్రదేశంలోని సంస్కృతి సాంప్రదాయాలను పరిరక్షించుట ద్వారా సాంప్రదాయ పరిజ్ఞానాన్ని పరిరక్షించవచ్చు. షాల్ ఐ రిపీట్ ఇట్ ఇన్ తెలుగు? ఒక ప్రదేశం యొక్క లేదా ఒక సమూహం యొక్క సంస్కృతి సాంప్రదాయాలని పరిరక్షించుట ద్వారా సాంప్రదాయ పరిజ్ఞానాన్ని సంరక్షించవచ్చు లేదా పరిరక్షించవచ్చు. అదే దీని యొక్క సమ్మరీ. హౌ ఇట్ ఈస్ వీ విల్ గో. ఐ వాంట్ టు I try to explain this statement. How can we conserve the traditional knowledge? By conserving the traditions and cultures of a particular group of people. You see, there are so many tribal groups in the world, in India, in our state or in our native district. There are so many groups of traditional people, tribal people. Each tribal group or each tribal community has their own dialect, DIALECT, their own dialect and their own language and their own script. Some tribal groups does not have the script so far. Simply they will speak and they will communicate with others, but they cannot able to write it because the script is not there. The no script is there for that language. Till prior to one 5 6 decades up to 1920 1958, means before 60 years ago, there is no script for that tribal people which are living in our district. What is that tribal primitive group in our district? What is the primitive group in our district? Savara. Good. For Savara, there is no script up to 1958. In 1958, Gidugu Ramurthy Pantuలు గారు has gave the script to them. Script. They can communicate. Now you can see some groups. If you know or no, some in town also, Srikakulam town also, you can see some Relli group. Do you know Relli? They will speak. They can communicate, but they don't write it because there is no script for that language. So here this is very this method has linguistically, anthropologically, socially, culturally, economically, this method of conservation is very important. Very important. This is an anthropological method of conservation because you can see the 90% of tribal linguistics, means tribal languages, they don't have their own script. And yeah, all over the world, about more than 6,000 languages of tribal people are exists. Among these 6,000 plus languages of tribal people, 90% of these 6,000, they don't have the original script. Only they can communicate by speaking, but they cannot able to write and read. After write only we can read, but there is no script, there is no letters, but they can speak. It is communicate with others. What is language actually? What is the language? Any language you take. Language is a tool to communicate with others. If I am speaking through this online, you are communicating with my language. If this language is not communicated to you, there is no meaning for a language. Language will always act as a tool or a device to communicate others. So this kind of what kind of languages? Throughout the world, if you observe throughout the world, there are 6,000 plus languages. Doesn't have 90% of these 6,000 languages have their own script, only their own dialect. Dialect. Dialect means సంభాషణ. సంభాషణ మాట్లాడే విధానం, ప్యాటర్న్ ఆఫ్ సౌండ్స్, స్పెల్ట్, అట్టరెన్స్ ఎలాగనుకున్న ఒకటే. దట్ ఈస్ ద డైలెక్ట్. ఇప్పుడు మనం ది డైలెక్ట్ ఈస్ ఈవెన్ ఇన్ ఓన్ లాంగ్వేజ్, ఈవెన్ ఇన్ వన్ లాంగ్వేజ్ డైలెక్ట్ ఈస్ డిఫరెంట్. You can see in Telugu there are so many kinds of dialects. In Srikakulam district, people of Srikakulam district will speak in one way, and you can see East and West Godavari district people are speaking one kind of way, and you can also see the Krishna and Gunturu people in one way, and the Telangana people is another way. So this is all our own dialects, our own dialects. So these dialects, this is 6,000, 90% of 90% of 6,000 languages are in threat. Are in threat. What kind of threat? They are going to extinct within 100 years. So in a period of or in a evolution and existence of a human being, 100 years, a span of 100 years is not a long period. It is also a short period. How many years have gone? How many years have gone after the origin of earth? Within coming 100 years of period, within coming 100 years of period, these 90 percentages of languages out of 6,000 languages in the world are going to extinct. They are in the threatened stage. They are in the threatened stage. This is not our words. These are not our words or statements. This report was given by UNESCO. UNESCO has gave the report in 2011. In 2011, that 90% of world tribal dialect out of 6,000 plus languages is going to be extinct nearly within the period of 100 years, coming 100 years. With coming 100 years means within 2 generations. 100 years, what will happen? Within 2 generations. How the traditional knowledge can be conserved? What is traditional knowledge? Traditional knowledge is nothing but the knowledge can be transmitted to the next generation. If the traditional knowledge is not transmitted to the next generation, so there is no value for the knowledge. The knowledge which is transmitted through generation to another generation only, it can be called as traditional knowledge. So this is the threat of the traditional knowledge. Then how can we protect? So okay, so this is the threat, this is the scenario, this is the present status of different languages of tribal people in the world. Then what shall we do? Then what shall we do? The only way that we have to provide those people or those group of people or community of people for those language, you have to provide. You means here the government has to provide the rights, IP rights. What is meant by IP rights? Intellectual property rights. So without any kind of script, he can able to speak and one can able to understand, one can able to communicate, but without script. This is his intellectual brain. So this is their intellectuality. This is their creation. So that we have to provide them the intellectual property rights for that language or for that script. Thereby, we have to conserve those languages for some more years. Some more years. This is the first solution. And the second one is you have to identify those tribes. You have to identify those tribes. Means the government has to identify and schedule their tribes. Prior to prior to schedule of these tribes, there is denotified tribes. Denotified tribes are there. You know, prior to the scheduled tribe in the constitution, in our Indian constitution, scheduled tribes and scheduled castes have been scheduled. Later, the writing of the constitution by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, prior to publication of this Indian constitution by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, all these tribes are there by the name of denotified tribes. Denotified tribes. These denotified tribes have after noticed, they have identified, and they have scheduled as scheduled tribes in the constitution. Now you can see any tribe. What is your caste or what is your? I am belongs to ST. ST means scheduled tribe. Scheduled tribe. So this was happened by the provision of Indian constitution to them. Otherwise, they are called as denotified tribes. Denotified tribes. So, other scheduled tribes which are there without notification or without identification, they are also has to notify, they are also has to identify, and also they have to schedule in the constitution. So, this is the second solution for this. The first solution is provision of IPRs. Provision of IPRs. The second one is identification of denotified tribes by the government and schedule them into constitutional rights. They have to schedule them into constitutional rights. Then they will get all the benefits provided by the government. What benefits are they are getting by the government today? You can see so many welfare programs are being extended by the government in order to improve the economic status of the tribal people. If they are not scheduled in the constitution, it is not possible. If they are scheduled in the constitution, they will get all the constitutional rights and they are eligible to get all the benefits by the various welfare programs that are being provided by the government. So this is the one of the conservational method. Did you understand this method or not? Did you understand this method or not? You can say yes. Then if you yes, okay. If yes, I will go for the next method. The next method is to overcome the biopiracy. Simple. Then you can understand. What is the next method? If you assign the number of methods, this is fourth method, I think. If you are giving numbers, this will come fourth method to overcome the biopiracy. Simple. When I say the overcome of biopiracy or to avoid the biopiracy, then traditional knowledge can be conserved. I think you can able to understand this statement. What is biopiracy? What is biopiracy? We have learned this under a separate chapter we have already learned. We have the problem of the biopiracy is, so we are not identifying our own creative knowledge by ourselves. So this is the first problem for the biopiracy. Biopiracy. What is the problem we are encountering for biopiracy? We are not able to understand, identify our capabilities, our capabilities, and and the capabilities which are expressed by ourselves are not secured by the government. There is no safety or there is no security for our indigenous knowledge. Are you able to catch this point? ఏంటంటే ఇది మనం మన సాంప్రదాయ పరిజ్ఞానాన్ని మనమే గుర్తించలేకపోవడం, గుర్తించినా దాన్ని తక్కువగా మనం అనుకోవడం, మన సాంప్రదాయ పరిజ్ఞానానికి మనకే భద్రత లేకపోవడం బయోపైరసీకి కారణమైంది. ది root causes, the root causes of biopiracy. What is biopiracy? Biopiracy is nothing but thefting of our traditional knowledge by others. Kada? When our traditional knowledge is undergone to thefting, what are the circumstances that our traditional knowledge is going to thefting, is undergone to biopiracy? There is no security to our traditional knowledge. Our traditional knowledge is not being identifying ourselves by our governments, by our administrators, and this knowledge is no safe. It has no security. Then the knowledge is going to biopiracy. It is undergoing to biopiracy. So how can we overcome this biopiracy? So to overcome, to arrest, to stop the biopiracy by other countries from India, simply we have to provide this IPRs. The intellectual property rights has to give even every traditional knowledge. For example, if you acquired some knowledge, if you have created, if you got some knowledge, simply you have to provide a intellectual property right. Then it will get the safety. It will be secured. There is no chance to go out this knowledge. So here, to overcome the biopiracy, here only simple 2 points you have to remember. The first one is, our indigenous knowledge is undergoing to biopiracy due to our incapability, due to our insecurity, due to the lack of well awareness on our traditional knowledge by the government and administrators. It is undergoing to biopiracy. So if you want to stop the biopiracy, to overcome the biopiracy, each traditional knowledge has to provide with intellectual property rights. Then the traditional knowledge can be secured, will be secured in our country. So this is the summary of this method under the overcoming of biopiracy. Is it understood? Is it understood? Yes or no? Yes. Then the last but not least, last method of conservation, the fifth one. So the significance and usage of traditional knowledge is useful to economic growth, or the use of traditional knowledge in economic growth. Ante you have to write it as, you have to write the use of TK, the use of TK in economic growth. That is the heading. That is the name of the method. Simply you can understand. When you avail, if you avail, or if you use, or if you utilize the fruits, the greatness, and the significance of traditional knowledge, thereby you will get the economic growth. So this is the summary and essence of this method. Then how it is possible? So we can encourage the traditional knowledge. You can write it as point wise. In this heading, you will get 3 points. 3 points. The first point under this heading. So the when we provide the first point, hear me first. When we provide the IPR rights to new varieties, those are those are produced by those are produced with the help of traditional knowledge. Did you understand? You have to provide the IPR rights for new varieties, those produced with the help of traditional knowledge, or those produced by using traditional knowledge, by following traditional knowledge. On the other, I will say on another way, the some or so many new varieties have been produced by using this traditional knowledge, or with the help of traditional knowledge, we are producing new varieties in crop improvement. In crop improvement, yes or no? We are producing the new varieties in crop improvement with the help of or by use of the traditional knowledge. Understand? Those new varieties has to provide intellectual property rights. Intellectual property rights. Then it will it will help to improve the economic status. So this is the first point. What is the method? What is the name of this method? Use of traditional knowledge in economic growth. So we have to use the traditional knowledge to produce new varieties. Each new variety has to provide intellectual property rights. Because of this is the why this is the result of traditional knowledge. A new variety which was produced, which was produced, is the result of, is the product of, is the fruit of the traditional knowledge. So you have to provide the intellectual property rights to those varieties. Thereby we can improve the economic status. So this is the first point. And you can write the second point. In order to improve the traditional knowledge, you have to you have to identify the root causes and also root ways. So this is the second point. In order to in order to improve in order to improve the traditional knowledge, the what are the root causes and what are the different ways of traditional knowledge, that has to identify for the first time. You must identify the root causes and ways of traditional knowledge for the first. Later, you can improve, you can conserve the traditional knowledge. So, this is the second point. And the third one is you don't accept the utilization of traditional knowledge that the persons don't have originally their own traditional knowledge. Is it understand? Is it understand? That is, you don't accept the knowledge. You don't accept the traditional knowledge from half knowledged fellows. Half knowledged people. That is actually the essence of this point is ఇప్పుడు సాంప్రదాయ జ్ఞానం ట్రెడిషనల్ నాలెడ్జ్ పూర్తి అవగాహన లేని వారి నుంచి ఆ ట్రెడిషనల్ నాలెడ్జ్ యొక్క వినియోగాన్ని యూటిలైజేషన్ని మనం యాక్సెప్ట్ చేయకూడదు. యూ షుడ్ నాట్ యాక్సెప్ట్ ద యూటిలైజేషన్ ఆఫ్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఫ్రమ్ పీపుల్ దోస్ డు నాట్ హ్యావ్ complete traditional knowledge. Understand? You can write it like this. You can write this point like this. We should not accept the utilization of knowledge from those who do not have complete traditional knowledge. That's all. So this is the one way or one method of conservation of traditional knowledge. Did you understand? So these are the 5 methods for conservation of traditional knowledge. So up to here our third unit has been completed. Our third unit has been completed by here. And what is the next unit?